Hi and welcome back to the channel, and today I'm going to do your Chinese horoscopes for 2021, the year of the ox. So we're going to do the year of the ox. So according to the Chinese zodiac, 2021 is the year of the ox. And let's hope it's going to be a little bit better than 2020, because that was a pretty poor year for most people on just about every front. But this year is supposed to be a lot more lucky, actually. It's supposed to be a good time to focus on longer term things, but on relationships in particular. And I know a lot of you have been in lockdown, and that must be a terrible period for anybody that's single. But this is going to be a year when relationships can flourish quite well for most signs, actually, for all signs. It's better generally overall for everyone. And so it's a time also when you can make new friends. So I'm sure that as we gradually come out of this pandemic, people are going to want to socialise more. So the kind of the year of the ox is a pretty good one for socialising with friends. So it's generally a pretty positive sign, and it's a positive energy as we come out of this horrible coronavirus period of 2020. Now, the ox as a symbol in Chinese astrology is a very hard-working animal and very methodical. Right, so it's anything you have to do in life at the moment that requires hard work is the time to do it. This is the time when hard work brings rewards. It's not a time when sudden things come into your life and you suddenly make money and speculative things. This is where you have to be persevering, right? And any good luck you've had already, they say, will also be increased upon. So it's a time for consolidating your good luck. As the Chinese believe a great deal in luck, but this is a lucky time really for most people. The ox is a in Taoism they have this idea of yin and yang, which you've heard about. Well, the ox is dominated by the yin energy, so it's the passive female the passive female energy of the ox for this year. So it's going to be a time when the ox is a strong animal, and it's also a time when people can carry the weight of responsibilities. And it's a time also when we can redouble our efforts to achieve the things we want in life. And so this, for the world at large, is a time when we can make slow and steady progress, and also slow and steady release from the burdens of the past, actually, which, you know, of course has been paramount in 2020 with all the problems of coronavirus. So it's promising for a steady energy that will slowly bring us out of the crisis of 2020. So it's not going to be sudden releases and everything's going to be all right overnight. It's not. I think we've already understood that. As the vaccines roll out, the year will gradually get less and less stressed, even with all these additional variants coming in. You know, I made some predictions about that in my prediction period, didn't I? I told you all about that there'll be other viruses coming, which seems to be the case now. Nonetheless, I still think we'll get through it. So this is also the element for this animal, the ox, is metal. So this is a metal year. We had a metal year last year. So they say that the lucky colour for metal is the colour white. So that's supposed to be the positive colour. So it's a favourable year for economic recovery then, worldwide. And a period, again, like I said, perseverance and consolidation. These are kind of the key words for this sort of thing. And it's so, therefore, if you're making investments and things like that, this is the time for making long-term investments rather than short-term ones. I expect the stock market to go wild when we know the pandemic is completely over, but at the moment, and probably for this year still, you know, there's still uncertainty in the air, so it's probably best to put your money into long-term investments according to Chinese astrology. This is also a good time for anything connected. Like I said, it's connected, good for love and friends and things, but also a good time for family. And obviously, a lot of us have had to sort of withdraw to the confines of our family, and we're all stuck in at home. And our family are probably, for many of you, the closest people around you all the time. So this is still a year of good period for consolidation within the family, a time when there is order in the family. And order in the family, of course, brings there will be order in society. We have to start with the family always. This is actually a very interesting Chinese concept. If you look at it in, for example, the I Ching, it talks in the hexagram of the family. It always talks about that we make the family secure first. Then we go out and we make the society around us immediately with our friends and the relations. We make that balance, and then we extend out to the whole world. So it's a positive thing. It's coming back to the centre of things. It's a stable period. Now, I'm now going to move on to the individual signs. But if you're new to this channel, do follow us, because we have all sorts of things going on this channel. And we have every Friday, my wife Jane and myself give a talk about all sorts of paranormal things. And you can, in the live sessions, ask us questions and join in psychic experiments and all sorts of fun stuff that we have going on Fridays. And of course, you'll also get all sorts of predictions and things on this channel as well. So don't forget, click that little bell thing to subscribe, and click the bell motive when you do press the subscribe button, and you'll get updates about what's coming up. And there's loads coming up this year. The Rat 2021 Horoscope. Okay, this is a bit of a challenging time for you ahead in terms of your career, according to the Chinese horoscopes. So 2021 is not that easy in that respect, but it is also a good time, particularly of matters of love. It's a time for single people to meet people. It's a time when people may fall in love with their soulmates. So you're going to be broke but happy. No, but it'll be a good year for meeting new people, basically, and a time for making lots of good relationships. And actually, when it comes to work as well, it means you can make good contacts and relationships with people at work, not love relationships, but, you know, connections with them, with people, networking and things like that. It's a good time for that, for people born in the sign of the Rat. Now, you're a very hard-working sign, the Rat is. You're one of the most hard-working signs of the Chinese zodiac. So this time will be less career-focused, and maybe 2021 is going to give you a chance to take your foot off the accelerator and put not so much emphasis on career as you might have been doing up to now. So you won't be just pouring your energy into that all the time. I think you'll enjoy more quality of time, and particularly quality time with family would be emphasised, particularly with the qualities of the year of the ox, like I talked about earlier. Maybe it's a good time for you to do something relaxing, take walks, do things that are good for the body and mind, like yoga, meditation, anything like that would be very, very beneficial for you, and perhaps a time you could really deepen your practice. So you're a very devoted person, and you'll reap a lot of benefits from the year of the ox. It's a very stable energy around you at the moment, and like I said, particularly in the romantic department of your life. So if you're in a committed relationship, you'll get a lot of solace and comfort from your partner. So things should go quite well for in relationships for, you know, people who already found their loved ones. But for single rats, this could be the time for you where you meet somebody special, and particularly towards the end of 2021. That is supposed to be the time when it's most powerful for you. So you don't have to chase things this year so much. It's the urge is not to necessarily chase things, but let things unfold slowly. The energy of the ox is slower. It's more, like I said, persevering, strong, and it's looking for long-term development. So it's a persevering energy. So on the whole, for the Rat, it's going to be a fairly peaceful year, and you may find a need to break away from all the over energy and turmoil of things around you. You might want to find a bit more quiet time I know COVID time has been quiet time enforced on everybody, but you will actually enjoy also, as well as having all these connections with people, you'll also enjoy having time to yourself as well. You like the stilling of the energy a bit more. So you could, like I said, it's a very, very good time for finding a life partner. And you will, in your professional life, you'll still do all right, but you need to sort of kind of dedicate yourself to the longer term of what you want to do. You might start some new projects now, but the projects you'll be thinking about will be looking for the far distance, be following your lodestar. So it's a time when I suggest you get a kind of an optimism, a perseverance, and keep your focus on what you really want in the long term, not just in career and money and all those things, but particularly in terms of matters of the heart. 2021 horoscope for the Ox. Okay, this is your year, 2021, the year of the Ox, and it's a good time for you. It's a time of prosperity for you, and a time when you will have very good, strong connections in your family life, which is much of the ruling energy of this period around us at the moment. Now, it's important for you to focus on anything to do with stability, mental stability, stability in your lives, strengthening things, foundations of longer term type things. Again, it's your nature to do this. And in particularly in emotional relationships, we want to look towards the long term, and this is also for you when a time when the energy of family dominates your life for the time being. So always be there. Be there for your family and friends. You're going to be seen as a person who can be relied on. You're going to be seen as a person who is a reliable, cheerful person in times of turmoil and difficulty in the world. So it's a good time for you there. So a time also to communicate with all those around you and know how blessed you are to have people around you who do care for you and love you. And it's also a time for you when a lot of opportunities will come your way for life. And so you can have a tendency to be a bit complacent sometimes because you're slow moving. You're not a fast moving sign, but do take advantage of opportunities that come your way. Don't let things pass you by, in other words. So there'll be plenty coming along, but make sure you grasp them with both hands. Good, particularly at the beginning of the year. This is a good energy for you, particularly right from now for the first 6 months of the year. And it'll be a good year all round, but a time when you can lay the foundations. As I say, it's the energy of the Ox era is a time of laying foundations for the long term, and so you should be planning all sorts of new things. It could be that it could be things like moving home or relocating to a new property. Those are the sort of things that are likely to be in the remit of the Ox's future. And it's a good time for any other new ventures for you, particularly, for example, if you're thinking of launching a new business or re-establishing things again, if things have been going wrong for your business, if you run a business from 2020. So it's hard work gets the reward. That is the keynote of the year of the Ox generally, and it particularly gets emphasized in it since it's your own sign at the moment. So again, perseverance both in the financial world and in the emotional world are key to your success for this year. Very good year for all matters associated with the heart for the Ox sign. The energy is just right for you at the moment. So there could be all sorts of intense mutual attractions between people. It could be lots of important relationships lighting up your life at this time. And it could become very serious perhaps. It could be a time when the Ox is thinking about making long-term plans such as marrying or pregnancies and things like that. This is all kind of good for the Ox in this period of time. And particularly if you're happily partnered, it's a very good time for deepening the bonds and like I say, planning the future, maybe in things like having families and things like that, but maybe even the hope of having a vacation or something. Whether we get the chance of that in 2021 yet is hard to know, but maybe for the further ahead, you're going to plan to get things together for places to go. Memorable shared experiences are very well highlighted during this period for you as well. There can nonetheless, even so, I've perhaps painted a bit over rosy picture, but you've got to also be cautious sometimes of tensions that can occur in relationships too. So there might also be periods like that around you, because some of the other signs aren't having such an easy time of it this year. But there will be tension in the air generally. But you'll overcome all those things during the year. It'd be a fine time for you. But in particular, at the end of, you get a good beginning of the year, like I said, but towards the end of the year, you get a second opportunity. There's new opportunities shown for the ox towards the end of 2021. So these will be things in your professional life rather than in the love field. Anyway, have a good 2021. The 2021 horoscope for the Tiger. So for the Tiger, unfortunately, this is a year that's going to be a bit hard for you, because your energies are not really compatible with the energies of the ox that is going to be pushing us to be stable and slow and perseverance. It's much harder for you. You're going to find it quite challenging. So in love and things, this is not the year. This is not the most significant year for you. When you make all the breakthroughs in love and things like that. It's a year when the Tiger will have to learn a lot of patience and perseverance, which is not usually the qualities that you prefer in life. You like to get to things quick. You like to grab the prey and make the killing, as it were. But it's a harder year for you because of that. So it's a bit of a slower year. So you'll be having to learn about maintaining balance in life and taking things at the pace that life dictates rather than the pace that you would like. So this is a time when you could perhaps expand your knowledge. It's a time when you can learn many new things. You can learn new ways of doing things and learn to adapt to make new pathways through the world. Because you are basically, you're basically a very ambitious sign. So it's a good time if you want your ambitions to come forward. It's probably going to take a bit longer, but so this is the time when you can perhaps learn the skills you're going to need for the future. Learn to specialize in something. Perhaps redirect yourself into a new area of job interest or something like that would be quite good, but it's going to take effort, training and work during this time, but it would be very beneficial during this period if you do that. But you mustn't fall victim to overconfidence. I've got it ringed here. Don't be overconfident. It's not a time when you can get overconfident. I think you've got to have a certain amount of modesty and humility in this time for those born under the year of the Tiger. And also it's a good time to get any forms of advice from others, even in matters of health and things like that. It's a time when you should have an open ear, when you should listen and learn and grow this way. So it could be a little bit tricky emotionally for the sign of the Tiger, because the Tiger is usually, people born under the Tiger are usually fairly reckless, and particularly in love, they kind of is all in, and the energy in the air, as it were, is not really meant for that type of energy at the moment. So if you're going through any difficulty, like a difficult breakup, you've got to be wary, for example, of jumping out of the frying pan into the fire. You've got to take it easy. Take things at a pace this year. Don't leap all the time. And maybe it's a time also for healing for you, a time for healing yourself and healing any damages in relationships. So it's a time when instead of arguing with people, you may develop more diplomacy. You may be able to find the middle way. You may be able to agree to compromises sometimes, and that would be much more productive for you during this year. So think of it as just as a type of energy you're dealing with. The energy is not this dynamic energy this year. It's much more slower. So you've got to modify your behavior if you want to find happiness to the energies that's going to be around you through the time of the ox. So, but generally though, you'll have a good year. It won't be a bad year. I mean, it's a particularly this is a good time for new projects for pretty much all the signs. So it's a good time if you've got any new plans, particularly longer term plans to sort out. This applies to most of us. But don't expect miracles in the area of love this year. I think this is where patience is required. And if you're in a relationship, I think it's for those that are already in a relationship, it's kind of a bit easier, really, because this is a time when a relationship could stabilise to the point that it could even result in a marriage. It's more difficult for the single tigers, as it were, at the moment than those who are already committed. But patience is the way. Perseverance is the keynote for this year, and if you do things right, I'm sure you'll find happiness in the end. The 2021 horoscope for the rabbit. For the rabbit, it's going to be a moderately good year. It's not going to be a fantastic year, but it's going to be an okay year in 2021. So if you're, again, the energy I've said for the other signs is a time of stability and getting things in order. And you will have to adjust quite a lot into this energy, because you're a bit finicky, a bit picky and things like that, and you will find it sometimes a bit irritating this year with the way things go in life, but it will be fine. You have to be, like I say, adaptable, particularly at work. We will need to be adaptable. You might have to change the way you work. I mean, many people haven't we, with this coronavirus, you happen to work from home and things like that. So don't complain. Be glad of anything you've got. This is a time really for counting your blessings. But so it's a time that requires for all of us work and determination. This is what pays off best. And although that's not it's not completely in your nature to be like that. You're not a hard worker, but you will have to put the work in. And enjoy the little things. That's what the advice is for the sign of the rabbit. Enjoy the little things that make life good. Don't fret yourself too much on the big goals. I think it's a time, be happy with what you achieve. So this is going to be a period of time for you when you're going to be learning a lot. It's going to be a time of change, a time of development, a time of learning. And instead of demanding, you're a bit of a perfectionist, and instead of demanding sort of perfection in everything, accept that sometimes things do have their flaws and things can't be 100% perfect, and you'll have much less stress through the year if you just go with it and accept things kind of as they are, and don't worry that it should be this way or it should be that way. And it's a good time for all projects. Like I've said in other signs, it's a good time for delivering long-term projects, but for you it's probably best if you can make your best advances at work, not so much by the money that's gained, but the money that's saved, doing things under budget and things like that. If you work in those type of fields, that can bring you rewards because you're good at that type of thing. And particularly in this period, that's something that others might overlook. So it's a good thing if you can find ways, there's two ways to make money in life. We make money and we make money by saving money. And that's where I think you will gain this year. So it's practicality and practicality in everything you do. And if you do this, you'll attract bigger and bigger rewards and more opportunities. It's like you get recognised for these skills. Now, on the romantic side of your life, again, I think for the rabbit, it's a time of being happy with what you have. It's like I said at the beginning, a bit like counting your blessings year for the rabbit sign. You'll attract love if you're single. It's a good time for meeting people. But if you get moody or you start looking back or you start picking holes in people, that will stand against you. Like I say, you've got to accept people as they are in relationships this year. Don't Don't go changing partners if you're with a partner already. That's not a good year for making massive changes and breakups in relationships. So try to sort things out is the key notes for this year. And look for the positive in a person. Look for what's good about them. And I think you would get on better in this year of the energy of the ox if you take that attitude. So prosperous year. Really for you, you should do all right money wise, but like with all of the ox sign, this ox sign, it demands of all of us that it's work. So it will be a prosperous year for you, but you must also work hard. It's a time when we'll all be working hard in 2021, but these things do bring rewards, and that's your way forward. Don't pick holes in things. Don't keep saying things aren't right. Go with what the world is. Count your blessings, and I'm sure you'll have a much, much happier year. So it's a good year for the rabbit if you make it that way. 2021 Chinese horoscope for the dragon. It's a kind of okay year for the dragon, but not a brilliant year for you. The problem is you don't normally get on particularly well with the ox as a zodiac sign because their energy is much slower. The dragon is a kind of the genius, the brilliance, the great creative person, the full of energy sort of person. And you're going to find this year a little bit more frustrating because you can't let that expression come out during this year. It's a slow time of gradual progress. And in this time of gradual progress, you find it quite hard. I mean, we're all going to have a bit of that because you're coming out of a very difficult period in the Earth's history, with jobs under threat and money problems everywhere, I'm sure, with all the coming out of coronavirus and lots of public unrest in the world out there as well. So it's not a great time when we can express the energies we want. We kind of feel a bit sort of held back, and that is particularly for the dragon, who finds it very, very hard to adapt to this slow, gradual progress, shoulders the wheel, hard work sort of attitude. You want to find quick ways to do things, but this is the energy of the year of the ox, and you have to adapt to it. So you have to find ways to adapt, and if you can find ways to adapt to the energy, you'll do fine. But don't expect sudden. It's not sudden gains. It's the tortoise that wins the race this year rather than the hare. It's a slower process. So you've got to use your mind to find ways of adapting to that. So it can be a bit of a boring time for you because you're a very, very innovative sort of person. But you are instead going to be taking on much more heavier responsibilities. And instead of just doing your own thing all the time, you're going to have to sort of work with others and work in teams and things like that, which is not always in your nature. But if you can adapt to that, you should do well in this period. It's a matter of using the energy to your advantage. Don't spend too much. This is a time when people should be saving money, not spending money. So don't lash out, but try to sort of accumulate financial money. Good period for anything longer term, as I've said before on the main opening to this video, about a good time for long-term projects and new projects, as long as they've got a structure and a goal towards their going, and it's a good time for almost anything with new business and maybe new lifestyles even for you. But you're a very charismatic sort of personality as a dragon, and you may end up actually mixing your business and your romances together. There's a suggestions during this period of the year of the ox that you might meet someone at work. Possibly there's this connection between work and romance, so you might meet someone at work, or you might even set up a business with somebody who you're romantically attached to, and this would be quite a good time for doing anything like that if that's something you've hoped to do. So use a lot of compromise during this period. You can't get your own way all the time during the period of the energy of the ox. So the dragon has to compromise in all matters, and also find compromise in the areas of love in particular too. So you're being tamed a little bit this year. Very, very good period for health for the dragon during the year of the ox. The energy is just right for your love. And love will go fine too, really, but those that are married and single should have a pretty happy year. as long as you pay attention to the energies that you are working with. Slower pace, more long-term thinking, less sudden innovations. You've got to accept that sometimes it can get frustrating for you, but if you adapt, as I say, you should be able to find your way through and could turn 2021 into a very successful year. It's up to you. The 2021 Chinese horoscope for the snake. The year of the ox should be a pretty good time for you. You kind of harmonise quite well with the energy of this period. So you'll become very energised and dynamic during this period if you're born under the Chinese sign of the snake. So you're a very intuitive person and you need to listen to your instincts and believe that you are following a path to success. You've got to believe in yourself and go with the direction this year. You could continue also capitalizing on successes that you've already had. So it's a good time for building upon the things you've already started in 2020. You should be on the path to greater success. In fact, 2020 could have been a fairly hard year for you, but this year is much more positive. So you could be smiling by the end of the year. In fact, things should start to unfold for you quite early in the year. And you should find particularly that any financial problems you've had will ease comparatively quickly during 2021. And so you should expect some profits and you should expect sometimes unexpected bonuses and things like that, because it's a time for you for getting some fairly unexpected time. Even though it's a time of generally slow progressive energy, it kind of boosts your energy as a snake. You know, it gives you the energy that you need. And it should also be quite a good time for health generally through 2021. And the snake is a very graceful animal and you should express that quality of grace. Maybe dance. I'm a snake. I do things like yoga from a physical exercise, which is a kind of a graceful thing, or would do tai chi, and I've done karate and things like that. All graceful, healthy exercises. Anything physical activity would be very good this year for building your strength for the long term in life. I've told you I'm a snake, so they're very charming people, snakes. You should do well, if you're a single snake, you should do well on the romantic front of your life this year. Particularly if you're single, you could meet someone special. The signs are it could be somebody you might meet indirectly, such as online or through dating apps and things like that, if you're a snake. And it's a time when you're likely to meet unexpected people and find quite good changes happening in the romantic areas of your life. And also, if you're in a long-term relationship, you'll still feel fine. You'll feel that you're wanted, you'll feel that people are being kind to you. And the energy of the ox for all of us is a time when family is important. So again, the snake will find a lot of solace and pleasure in family matters. And like I said, you won't have to wait long for the benefits of this year to come your way. 2021 should start off reasonably well for you from February 2021 when the new year begins. And you will have plenty of courage to take on new opportunities and should achieve quite a lot of success. And like I said early on, build upon your success. Build upon the success that you've already built, and you should achieve quite a lot this year. 2021 horoscope for the sign of the horse. The energy of the time of the ox is one of steady energy, lots of steady energy. And the horse, you kind of thrive on that. You're one of the hardest working signs of the Chinese zodiac. And you should this year gain some of the benefits of the hard work you put in 2020. In fact, 2020 for the sign of the horse would have been a kind of a difficult year. You'd have been doing a lot of hard work already, and now the benefits should start to pay off. It should be a much more abundant time for you, and also a time when there should be lots of love around you. It should be a very good time because it's a good energy for you. You harmonize well with the energy of the ox. It's a time when love will bloom because you've made lots of commitments, and maybe made those commitments, already as you come into the 2021 period. So you can improve your chances of success when it comes to work and finances too. It's personal work, personal hard work, and you tend to put in a bit more effort than most of the zodiac signs. So it kind of suits your energy, as I said. And if you're very enterprising, you should be able to make some pretty good career moves this year if you want to make changes during this period. So getting back to business, getting back to work is going to be very important to you, because obviously a lot of people have been held back during 2020. You've carried a lot of stress, you've carried a lot of strain because of this. You found it particularly hard, the idea of being locked down and not being able to get out. Hands-on work is particularly good for you. So it's been quite a difficult time for you, and 2020 might have been a time where you've had health problems maybe, but for the horse, 2021 is supposed to be a time of recovery from those things. So the Chinese believe that this is a good time for your energy to recoup itself, and you'll be feel safe in the activities that you do. May do lots of physical activity as well that you may like to participate in. This will all be quite good for building your health and building your body's strength during 2021. Now, the only real snag particularly is that you overwork. You can become a bit of a workaholic, and this would be a bit of a problem for anybody from the year of the horse, with the energy of the year of the ox around us like this. So don't overdo it with work to the point that you close the door to everything else in your life. Generally, like I say, romantic things should be pretty good during this time for you, but you could, don't spend all your time at the office. Don't spend all your time at the ironing board or whatever. Don't get so focused on your work that you forget about the others in your life, and to also enjoy a slower pace sometimes. So we don't want you to burn out and cause breakups and problems in relationships, but you should be all right. And for the single horse, it's a time when you're kind of better at meeting people in groups, really, and possibly you might meet people in get-togethers of people, but the problem is, as I say that, I hesitate because we've got all these lockdowns, and how long it's going to progress through 2021 I don't know. But maybe groups online, maybe groups, hopefully once the lockdowns start to lift and we can meet people properly again, you would be better off, you would thrive better during this period at social gatherings. So let's hope we have some of that in the way ahead. There should really be a fairly adventurous year for the horse, because you've got so much energy, but the snag is, like I say, you can overdo it. So you can have your ups and you can also have your downs if you're not careful, particularly regarding health still, because it's an improvement time, but you're still carrying some negative energy from 2020. So there's a good chance that if you're single, you could meet your soulmate, your other half. It's all a good energy time for the horse. So keep on. Keep on, but don't stampede the future. Take it a bit at a time, and moderate your energy. Learn to fit in with this ox's energy of the gradual perseverance, and slow it down a little bit, even though you might have the tendency, like I say, to want to gallop ahead. Anyway, have a happy 2021. 2021 horoscope for the sign of the sheep. Okay, also known as the goat sometimes, the sheep should have a reasonably good year this year. But it really is a time, the nature of the energy is such that it's perhaps a time when you're going to be looking at your life and thinking about where it's going and its purpose. It's a time of evaluating things, and I think it's important for you at the energy of this time of year for the sign of the sheep is to think about where you've been, where you're going, and you're much more introverted in many ways. So you're going to be kind of not driven through this year. You're going to be kind of following the easier path. And you've got to be a little bit careful with finances during this time. It should be all right, but just be caution is required. It's a time of caution for you this year. People kind of, your nature is such that people can sometimes take advantage of you. You're a sign that is frightened to say no sometimes. You say yes to everything. I think sometimes you have to say no to things as well. I know we all want to say yes to life, but also sometimes you have to say no to people because they can burn you out and tire you out. So that's one of the things I think you should take home from watching this is learn to say no a bit, and that will help you maintain your energy through this time. 2021 will be a year of quite a lot of change for you. There should be growth, and there should be quite a lot of surprises coming your way, because you're a very easygoing sign, and sometimes challenges you don't like, but often the challenges are the things that open up new pastures for you and bring you new things into the year. So it could be a very good time for you if you play your cards right and you learn to venture into unknown territory, as it were. You've got to be kind of a little bit more adventurous. Even though at the beginning of the year you are thinking about what you're doing, like I said, you're going to have this period where you're going to evaluate things, but then maybe the evaluation might teach you that we've got to try new things sometimes. We've got to take a new path. In fact, things could come to you kind of out of the blue. Finances could come to you out of the blue. Positive things. Relationships could come out of the blue. Unexpected things can come to the sheep during this year. And there may be chances for travel, and particularly travel connected to work. And opportunities could fall into your lap. Okay, so it's quite an interesting and kind of a mixed time I'm describing here. So, like I say, unexpected, love at first sight, their eyes met across the crowded room. That is the type of thing that could happen to you this year. So you're naturally quite, you have a natural sort of elegance as a star sign for the sheep. You're affectionate sign, you're quite creative, and you tend to attract sympathetic people, people that might also be similar in your nature and also have the same romantic goals. So you may attract good fortune this year. And if you're already in a relationship, I think, it's a time of giving comfort and reassurance and support to your partner during the time of the ox. And this relationship could also still bloom, and it should be a very positive time generally. And generally, relationships can become much more intimate during a period of the ox. So you also become, because like I said at the beginning, you learn to say no sometimes. You therefore develop a little bit more of self-dependence during this year, and you don't become quite so dependent always on the help of other people. This is something that's in your nature. You tend to like to flock, as it were. You like to have others to come along with you, but you will have much more self-dependence, and you'll be able to rely much more on your own strength. And like I said, there's significant opportunities this year if you have the courage to take them, and particularly in terms of increasing your earnings in 2021. 2021 Chinese horoscope for the sign of the monkey. 2021 is going to start off as quite a challenging time for you. It's a bad start to the year, but it will work out. So you're probably going through some difficult times at the moment and I think wishing the year is going to come to an end before it's even started. But those things will move out the way quite quickly. You've got to make a lot of changes this year. There's going to be all sorts of areas of your life where you're going to be changing everything, changing all your direction in everything you do, in romance, in finance, in where you live, in what you do, in who your friends are. There's going to be an awful lot of sorting out and changing this year. And it comes to finances, this is going to be one of the few times you'll actually save money, because the sign of the monkey can kind of spend quite quick. But this year, you're going to save a lot more, because the energy of the year of the ox is one of steady going, and you should save a little bit of money. And it's something worth thinking about trying to do, because there's lots and lots of hectic change happening around you this year, and you want to have the money to make sure you can fulfill your dreams. Now, it's also a very good time when spiritual things should take center stage for the sign of the monkey. You can take your focus off the money a bit, and become a little less materialistic, and maybe open up your journey into the spiritual world and start to think about spiritual things. This could be quite exciting. I feel talking to people that are interested in the same type of things as you are, maybe reading a lot and extensive reading about esoteric things. All this could pay off well this year. If you want to get involved and understand all the spiritual side of life, this is a time for the sign of the monkey when you should fit right into it and get very inspired by the things you start to learn. Now, it's going to be quite adventurous time for the single monkeys as a time for love. You're quite an outgoing, gregarious sort of character. And this year it's a great time for socialising, meeting new people, people that like to go out and party and like to meet people and go on fun trips and outings and all sorts of adventurous type of things. This is very good for you, but not so much at the beginning part of the year, much more towards the end of the year. As you go into the end of this year, you should have quite a high social time. Hopefully by then a lot of the restrictions are lifted and we can all do those things, and I think that is going to be the case, but it's particularly well starred for the sign of the monkey as we move towards the end of 2021. This is also this year is a time when you've learnt from past mistakes. You've made a lot of mistakes in the past, and you're starting to readapt, learn things, do things in a new way, and also become a lot more tolerant to the people around you. In terms of health, one of the most important things you must do with your health is look after your diet, whether it's just to lose weight maybe, or just to have a more healthy diet style, because you've been living, particularly through 2021, on bad diet. So now's the time for a bit of spiritual insight, like I said, spiritual development, changing your healthy lifestyle, and then quite an exciting time as the year progresses for you. 2021 Chinese horoscope for the sign of the Rooster. Let's face it, 2020 has been a pretty tough time for the sign of the Rooster, and you are kind of now coming out of that, and you're going into a period of much, much more spiritual, emotional and financial recovery. This is going to be quite a good period for you for the way ahead. This recovery is going to bring a lot more happiness into your life. It's going to bring a lot more happiness into those around you who have perhaps been taking the stress that you've been exuding up to now. But anyway, things are looking better, particularly financially. And this year should be a good time, which should bring abundance into your life, and you should be away from some of the daily stress and hassle of the world around you. In marriage, it's supposed to be a good time too, because the year of the ox is very good for longer term things, and perhaps in a family, it could mean the coming of a pregnancy or a baby. So it's a good time for the sign of the Roosters who are looking to expand their family. Now, you're a very hard working sign, one of the hardest working signs of the zodiac. And you felt your career has been stalled for a while. You felt, financial problems have got in the way, but financial opportunities that come along now could really start to give a sense of movement in your life and a movement through this year. So, and particularly if you're thinking about starting a new job, or maybe finding a new business, or setting up launching a new project maybe, this is a time that is absolutely ideal for doing those things. You could also get some money unexpectedly through something such as an inheritance, or a bank account, or something coming to a maturity of some sort. Something you've forgotten about. Some money could come your way, possibly a loan, possibly someone helping you. You're a very loyal sign as a rooster, and you kind of got been a bit confused in your relationships for a while, but you're beginning to get a bit more committed to your partner if you're in a long-term relationship. It would be good for you if you could travel. Most of us have been wanting to do some travel sometime during this lockdown period, but if opportunities open up for travel, this will be good for you, particularly if you and your partner can go somewhere that neither of you been, and you can kind of share a new experience and build new memories between you. Keep things light if you're single. Don't get too heavy with things. Let things happen. Lots of love interest will come into your life for the single roosters this year. It's quite a good year, for meeting people, flirting a bit, experimenting with meeting new people and dating new people, and from that something good could occur this year for you. You have a very strong urge at the moment to change things. You've been very frustrated. You want something new in your life. It could be even whether you're going to relocate somewhere, go to a new country, do something, change of your workplace and things. All these things are possible, but it's also very important for you, particularly during the energy of the ox, the Chinese sign that's around us at the moment. It's for you to stop thinking of the negative. You've got to put the negative thoughts around you. Stop looking at the negative in people. Stop trying to find fault in others. Stop trying to think that everyone else is to blame. If you can get away from that and take a positive attitude, the world will open up for you. 2021 Chinese horoscope for the sign of the dog. Generally, during 2021, you're going to exercise feelings of restraint in your professional and in your personal life. You're a very loyal sign as the sign of the dog, and you're willing to work hard. You're willing to work hard to achieve your dreams. And this period in the sign of the ox, which is dominating us now, in the year of the ox, means that your hard work can pay off. You can achieve the goals that you want to achieve. In love, you've got to learn to stop criticizing your partner. This is something that can get overemphasized during the year of the ox. So let yourself become more positive towards people. Be less critical, and you'll think your life will be much more easy. When it comes to the money this year, it's more like slow and steady progress wins the race. You've accumulated already quite a lot of debts. And I feel for you this year, it's got to be a time when you start to focus your finances on getting rid of those credit cards, getting rid of any debts that you might have built up over the year. You need to find good, steady sources of income, and this will bring down your debts quickly through 2021. So don't think, oh God, it's all going to be a year of just saving money and putting money aside. No, because if you do it at the beginning of the year, you'll find that you'll have plenty of money at the end of the year, and might even be able to splurge out and treat yourself to a few things. So knuckle down and save some money during this quite good time during the year of the ox, for anybody wanting to do this sort of thing of setting down foundations for the future. Good time for single people of the year of the dog to meet their dream lover this year. It's a year that should be filled with a lot of happiness and the romantic side of your life. You can be quite calm as a person when you want to be, but you would need someone around you, and the signs are this year that you could meet someone that could be quite amusing, someone that could be quite a fun person around you, is the energies of the year of the ox would create around you. So if you're already in a committed relationship, maybe you've got to sort of just be a bit more adventurous in life, and it will make your intimate life a little bit more exciting for you. You've kind of fallen into a few traps of complacency sometimes, but there's good energy around you now, so you can change a lot in your life to make life more fun for you. You're quite an anxious sign, actually. The sign of the dog can get a bit anxious, and you do through 2021 kind of find that energy is still there in the background, still nagging you, and you might get nervous about things, about what's happening in life. You might suffer also from conditions and health that would be related to big over worrying, so gotta calm that down a bit, and put your focus into some of these possible new projects that you could do this year. It's a great time for anybody setting up new things. So lots of positive tendencies are in you, and also in your private life, lots of positive things happening this year. It should bring many new successes, and it should be a time when you can make a lot of success and progress at work too. So if you're starting new jobs, looking for jobs, it's a good time for embarking on new enterprise for you. Embarking, a good one for dogs. So you need to decide what you want to do though. You need to get a direction. You work better if you've got a goal to aim at. So have a good think about what you want to do. Plan ahead a little bit as well, and then aim for it, because you can achieve quite a lot this year. 2021 Chinese horoscopes for the year of the pig. So 2021 for you should be quite a good year for anything to do with professional prospects. Anything you want to do with your career should be pretty good, particularly if it's in terms of learning, university, things like that, all good and well starred. You'll be good at all those things, but not quite so lucky in love this year. It's not the best of years for the people that are born under the year of pig when it comes to relationships. You've got to be cautious to avoid conflicts. And also there's a tendency to have conflicts with people at the workplace too. So, you're not going to be stuck with that. You just need to change you have to adapt and change the way you act. Don't be argumentative, basically, in matters of love and also at work. And if you can do that, you'll be fine, because you're a very, very diligent sign, the sign of the pig. And you can also be very powerful and can make very powerful progress, particularly, as I say, in professional things this year, all your career. You might land the really number one top job if you're looking for a new job, or you're looking for a promotion, because this is a very good year for getting some really impressive advances in your career. So that should happen for you. So it should be easier for you, but obviously be a bit more cautious on some of those other more sensitive areas of your life, because your talents this year and your experience this year could be well received and recognized, and it could put you really on the right track for a good career this year, and which will be a great relief to you, because you felt held back for some time in that area of your life, and it's something you really want to start to make some real movement. And so this, in the year of the ox, is a great time for all that type of thing. So when it comes to if you're single and you're looking for love, you need to be quite flexible. You need to be quite cheerful. Don't get moody and argumentative, like I said. And you should meet people. Possibly this is quite a good time for meeting new people, so unknown people, as it were. So blind dates, things like that could kind of work if you're looking for love and you're single. But if you're already married, if you're in a partnership, again, it's important not to take people for granted. There's a tendency for the pig during the year of the ox to sort of look after itself and focused on its career, doing its own thing, and forget about everybody else around them. So, drop that selfishness a little bit, guys. Maybe some gifts, and maybe lavish gifts or something, or praise, or being nice and just help people feel good about themselves will go a long way and pay you rewards. So it could be quite an eventful year for you as well. You could have quite a lot of big upheavals and changes this year. And these changes can bring success if they're approached in the right way, but they can also be difficult and awkward. So you need to be cautious. You need to think a lot about what you're doing. You don't want to be reckless. You've got to keep quite stable in the way you act this year. So it's going to be a successful year. It should work out all right for you if you take things in the right way in all areas of your life, including love. Like I said, you've got to be a bit more cautious in that area, but it should be all right. You might be able to change jobs. You might even be able to get married because there's big changes ahead this year. So go ahead with all your projects. Have a go with things. Just temper yourself a little bit. Don't take people too much for granted. And I'm sure that if you do this, you act in the right way, fortune will favour you. Okay, so move on, move forward and take on 2021 and you could make some big steps, particularly, like I say, in career. Well, I hope you all enjoyed that today. If you are interested, of course, in finding out about your future and particularly your astrology, I've got a load of astrologers working on my website at psychics.co.uk who will give you some forecasts for your way ahead and what the 2021 holds in store for you. And if you really want to sort of learn more about these type of subjects, do have a look at some of my books. Messages from the Universe particularly is a great book. I say it is my book, but it's a great insight, I think, into the forces of fate and where we're going in the world and the incredible things I discovered in India about astrology, as well as also my other books like the Psychic School, for example, which will teach you all about how to develop your own psychic gifts and so on. So have a look at some of that. Have a look at the website, particularly, and if you haven't already, and have a look at some of the articles there. And follow this channel, because if you follow this channel and you're new to this channel, you'll find that we're offering all sorts of interesting stuff all the time. And like I said at the top of the show, we have a Friday night show that comes on every Friday night live, and we have all sorts of interesting things going on there. A different topic every week. We approach things in different ways all the time, and you'll be able to meet myself and my wife, who's also psychic there, and you'll be able to ask us questions and enjoy psychic experiments and all sorts of interesting stuff that we do all the time. So follow the channel. It's very easy. Just click that little button at the bottom of the screen there, and then click the little bell thingy there, and it'll mean that you get updates every time we release a new video. Anyway, thanks for joining us. See you all soon. Bye for now.
Would you like a personal psychic reading? Visit psychics.co.uk for quality international readings with Craig and his team of clairvoyants. Improve your life and find the path to a better future. You can book readings by phone or email. For a quality reading, visit psychics.co.uk now. They are the real deal.